Hello everyone. In this video we are going to work out some examples dealing with tables. Now this table is from the previous video. It's about sports played in high school among students and teachers. And again, this is not from any credible source. I just made up these numbers and we'll use them for answering the questions, which I'll show in just a moment. So we have 5 different sports, and then down here it says other, and then those numbers are shown right there. So let's take a look at some questions we could be asked. And I wrote a couple over here. First question says, how many students play lacrosse? All I have to do is look over at my table and look for the specific row that deals with lacrosse and then students column, and then see what number matches. And that number is 35. Some of these answers can be found just by looking at the table. There might be some that require a little bit more work, but we'll get to that when we get there. This says, which sport was played the least by adults? So I emphasize the word least here. So now we're going to go to the teachers column. And we go and look at each of these results, and we say that the least played sport was basketball with a total number of 12. So here we'll say basketball. This last question asks, what was the average percent of the top 3 sports among students and teachers? So here we have to do a little bit more work. We're finding an average, so we're going to be adding up some numbers and then dividing. The top 3 sports among students and teachers. So let's work on the students one first. So the top 3 sports are going to be the ones with the biggest numbers, which are the other category, basketball, and football. And then at the same time, let's go ahead and find the top 3 among teachers, which is other, football, and soccer. So we'll work out the students one first. We're going to add 63, 59, and 45, and then we're going to divide it by 3. Because we're looking for an average. So for the students, I'll just label it as S. It's going to be 63 plus 59 plus 45. And then we're going to divide this by 3. Oops, camera getting in the way there. One moment. Move this down here. All right. Divide that by 3. This sum, 63, 59, and 45, gives you 167. And then we're dividing this by 3. When you do that, you're going to get a repeating decimal. So at this point, it's best to round to the nearest whole percent, which when you do that, you get approximately 56%. So the average percent among the top 3 sports among students was 56%, so more than half. If we look at the numbers for the adults, or teachers in this case, top 3 sports were football, soccer, and other. So let's go ahead and calculate that one next. Those numbers were, I'll label this A for adults, 21, 43, and 55. And we'll divide this by 3. The sum of your numerator here is 119. And when you divide this number by 3, you will once again get a repeating decimal. Round to the nearest whole percent, and you will get about 40%. So not all questions are going to be straight up looking at the table and getting the answer just as it is. You may have to do a little bit of work to find the answer. Some of the more simpler questions, which were how many students play a specific sport, or what was the least played by another audience. And again, this question here, what was the average percent of the top 3 sports among students and adults, or teachers in this case, but we just had to look at our numbers here, find the top 3 ones, and then find their respective averages, which we did right here. 56% and 40%. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you later.